We're back then with what will be the final legendary and exotic set showcases for Marvel's Avengers, for the time being at least, because with Miss Marvel about to be completed in this video, that will be all 6 characters that we have covered now. As always, before we jump in and we check out the sets that are available in the game, a few things to mention. The first one, as always, huge thanks to Throwbones, who actually started all this off really with his awesome spreadsheet that's now grown into the science table. The best place really to go if you're looking for geeky, in-depth discussion on Marvel's Avengers. There will be a link to the science table in the description below. Also mention that previously with your legendary sets they used to drop with free perks. As of patch 1.3.0 that's been reduced to 2 perks. That will be reflected in the infographics or show off today. And I will also mention the fact as well, of course these aren't best in slot anymore with them moving from 3 to 2 perks, but they are still a very good starting point due to the high RNG on other pieces of gear. So they're a very nice place to start off, and when you do get to some of the exotics, whilst they're not always amazing, some of them can be best in slot as well. But let's jump in and let's check out the legendary sets first. The first set we look at here then is the Elite Bossy set. The difficulty you actually play this on doesn't matter at all, so you can play in Challenge 1 if you want, just to get through it nice and quick. The set in question anyway, it's a Storm Ranger set. In regards to the stats across all of these sets, they're fixed depending on the items. What I mean by that is, for example, melee items will always have might and proficiency, and ranged items will always have precision and proficiency. The same applies to slots 3 and 4 in regards to the stats they have, so I won't discuss them for any of the other sets. But looking at the actual perks here, this is what differentiates them. You've got your slots 1 and 2, these are generally quite underwhelming on your legendary sets because the majority of the times, and in this instance, it's just a variable effect. So that'll be a random status effect on a random attack as well, and it's melee attacks for your melee item and range attacks for your ranged item. Looking at your slot 3 here, you have Untouchable Jarvis Barrier. This is really nice. Other heroes can make a bit more use of it. Heroes that gain overcharge, and then if they be knocked out with overcharge if they're hit, really make the most of this, but it can still be nice from a tanky survivability perspective. But this is Untouchable Jarvis Barrier, so offers a % chance when perfect evading an incoming attack to activate a Jarvis barrier. The barrier protects against damage for 20% of max willpower. Now with Miss Marvel, the way her regen actually works, it's based on a percentage of her health, so to an extent you do want to stack health on her, so this means you can actually get larger barrier as well here, but you're looking for something ideally like on a melee crit, which would be random, as opposed to this, which is a perfect evade. The next perk is the name not available for it, but we do see what the perk actually does. So it's 33% chance to completely resist spin attacks, preventing any heroic charge rate energy loss. I don't think that's that useful. So slots 1, 2 and 3 I wouldn't really bother about too much. Slot 4 is a decent starting point. This one you get Embiggen Blitz, so it's 10% increased damage from Embiggen, and then Heroic Assistance, which has increased the charge rate of Heroic Ultimate ability by 18%. That is of course Embiggen, so with this you'll be getting Embiggen more often, you'll be doing more damage with it as well, so this is a decent one to start off with. This next set here is actually pretty awesome from a support perspective, and I can see Miss Marvel being really important in raids with this set. So it is the Marvelous set, it drops from the vaults, doesn't matter which vault you run and doesn't matter which difficulty. Once again, your slots 1 and 2 are just your usual variable effects here, so nothing interesting. Your slot 3, defensive one, you've got Guardian Spirit, so it's a 15% damage reduction from attacks for any team member with Team Spirit active, so that's when she uses her heal. The next one, we don't have the name of the perk, but it increases the charge rate of the heroic support ability by 18%. So with this one, you'll be using your heal more often, you'll be offering the damage reduction to your teammates as well. The final slot we have here, it's Mighty Spirit. It offers as the first perk, so it adds a damage buff to any team member affected by Team Spirit that increases all damage dealt by 20%. Then we have Proficient Spirit. This adds a crit attack chance bonus of 35%, which is huge, to any team member affected by Team Spirit. Now this is a little bit odd to use, and that sometimes when I actually proc a heal it won't actually show in Miss Marvel first time and I need to use it again. I have no idea what's actually causing it, so it's something that hopefully the developers will look into in the near future and clarify. But for the time being, when it does actually work, your slots 3 and 4, you're getting your 15% damage reduction, you get 20% extra damage, and you're getting 35% extra crit when you hit that heal button, and you can get multiple charges of it. So from a support perspective, this is an amazing set. We then look at our final legendary set. This is the Sapphire set. Now this drops from your elite hives. These do take longer to do than the vaults and the bosses, and this is reflected in the set, which is normally a lot more interesting, and it does apply here. So looking at the slot 1, you've got Polymorphic Breaker. It increases the damage from all attacks while Polymorph is active by 15%. And then you've got your variable status effect. You've got the ranged one, really not a fan of it because I don't think ranged Miss Marvel does that well due to the fact she's got limited range with her arm having to stretch out. But you've got Whip Cracker, increases damage from landing headshots by 15%, very situational, so I wouldn't recommend that, but the slot 1 is nice. If we look at the slot 3, it's got Polymorphic Rejuvenation. It increases the willpower recovery by 200% while Polymorph is active. Now, when I actually done a build video for Miss Marvel, using certain perks, you could get her regen rate on her health to be around about 10% per second, which is insane, and this would just pull it up even higher, so this is actually really nice on her. The next one, we don't have the name of the perk, but it's 10% increased Polymorph energy, so you can use it more often and you'll be healing for more. And then we've got this slot 4, which is Polymorphic Rush, so it increases the regen of Polymorph intrinsic energy by 15%. The next perk name's not available, but it increases the heroic energy charge rate while Polymorph is active by 15%. So in regards to this set, your slots 1, 3 and 4 are actually really pretty decent. We then look at our first exotic set here. This is a Marvellous set, drops from the Heroic Hives, that's the ones that get 14 floors in it. Looking at the slot 1, you've got a variable effect for your first 2 perks. The third perk is really interesting. It's Polymorphic Disruptor, so 35% chance when defeating an enemy to generate an intrinsic orb while Polymorph is active. Now this has me wondering if you could actually do a spin to win build with this, where you actually use your Whirlwind move, because you'll be defeating enemies often with that and you're getting intrinsic energy back, and with certain perk setups as well you can get close to 100% crit chance on it, so I'm definitely going to look into that further. Looking at the ranged item here, your first 2 perks are just your variable effects. We then have Polymorphic Sapphire. This one increases the regen of Polymorph intrinsic energy by 15%, which is decent, but on this slot you're stuck with the precision stat, and I really can't recommend running a ranged Miss Marvel at all. Looking at the slot 3, this is really nice. You've got Guardian Spirit. It's 15% damage reduction from attacks for any team member while Team Spirit is active. Heroic Assistance increases the charge rate of heroic support ability by 18%, and then Healing Spirit Recovery, 200% increased willpower regen from Healing Spirits. This is actually really nice, this one, pretty awesome from a support perspective. Looking at the slot 4, the first perk is Mighty Spirit, so it adds a team damage buff to any team member affected by Team Spirit, increases the damage by 20%. The next one, we don't have the name of the perk, but it adds a crit attack chance bonus of 35% to any team member affected by Team Spirit. And then finally, again, perk name not available, but increases the charge rate of heroic support ability by 18%. So again, if you're looking to run Miss Marvel in raids and you really want to help out your teammates, run the slot 3 and 4 and you're really going to help them out a ton. The final set we have here is the Storm Ranger set, drops from the Mega Hives, that's the one with 40 floors. This set I feel is a little bit disappointing, and I actually preferred the one before it, but looking at the melee slot 1, you have variable effect for your first 2 perks. The next one, the name's not available, but it's 25% increased status damage from polymorph attacks. That actually is pretty decent considering the fact you have 2 perks that will offer you your status effect as well, so you should have a really high uptime on it. Looking at the ranged item here, once again I can't really recommend running ranged on Miss Marvel at all, but you've got your variable effect for your first 2 perks, and then you have targeted Jarvis barrier, so a percent chance when hitting an enemy with a ranged crit attack to activate a Jarvis barrier. When she throws out her arm, it's really pretty slow, so unless you've got an exceptionally high crit chance, I can't see this proccing too often. If it was to be on the slot 1 as a melee crit attack, it would be incredible, but as a ranged one, it's just simply not that good. Looking at the slot 3, you've got Untouchable Jarvis Barrier, a percent chance when perfect evading an incoming attack to activate the Jarvis Barrier. Again, the barrier protects against damage for 20% of max willpower. You've got Spin Resilience, 33% chance to completely resist spin attacks, preventing any heroic charge rate energy loss. And then Extended Evade, increase the distance covered during any evade by 30%. I'm not really a fan of this slot 3 at all, I would much rather go for the support ones instead. Looking at the final one here, which is the heroic one, we've got Embiggen Blitz, 10% increased damage from Embiggen. The next one, the name's not available, but it increases the charge rate of the heroic ultimate ability by 18%, that of course is Embiggen. And then the final perk is 250% increased willpower regen from Embiggen. So that one is actually pretty decent there, and you could get a real nice amount of survivability and damage from it as well when you higher up time on it. So actually, yeah, that's pretty nice, that one. Overall then for this set, I would say your slots 1 and 4 are ones that definitely could be pretty decent. But that is all the legendary and exotic sets for Miss Marvel and where to farm them. Once we get the data on Kate Bishop when she's actually out, I'll look to do that for her as well. And once I get the infographics tidied up and any spell mistakes fixed, I can see there's a spell mistake in this particular screen at the moment. Once I get all that fixed up, I'll look to actually upload the infographics onto my Discord as well, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found it helpful, take the time to hit the like, the subscribe and the share button. And thanks for tuning in, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.